Hello, and welcome to the third episode of Twin Theories.
Welcome.
I'm Kendall.
I'm Kelly.
And before we get started, we're just gonna kind of talk about how our weeks went.
I started my new job this week, which was really exciting.
Yay.
I work in human resources, if I didn't say that before. But I'm working for a new company, a lot better than my old job, so it's really exciting, better pay, all that. So I started last week, so it's been really fun. I like everyone that works there, so
That's awesome.
So that's been good.
I'm so happy for you.
And money. So money has been good.
Money is great.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I went to Chicago yesterday with my boyfriend and my best friend. And I decided to lose my phone that I got 2 weeks ago. Spending most of our day looking around Chicago, trying to find my cell phone that probably was lost or stolen. That was really fun.
That's awful. And I feel like when people steal your phone, like it's almost like stealing a part of yourself.
I gotta admit, I almost started crying.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't find it.
We're so connected to our phones now, though.
Right. It's kind of hard not to be. It's almost like the society we live in where you have to be on your phone at all times. Mm-hmm. But it was kind of nice once I didn't have my phone and we were kind of like, all right, we're going to just enjoy this time. It was kind of good because I didn't feel like I needed to take pictures of everything. Yeah. I could actually enjoy what I was doing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I was going to say, like, I just like taking pictures of everything because I like looking back and, like, remembering.
Yeah.
But even if you have, like, a different camera or something that's not your phone, that would probably be good, too.
Right.
But, like, everyone, like, these smartphones, the cameras on them are, like, amazing.
That is true.
So, this week, our theme is government cover-ups.
Yay.
Yay.
This is probably what most people think of when they think of conspiracy. They think of, most of the time they think of, like, the government conspiracies.
A lot of cover-up and, like, secret missions and the CIA kind of... Spies.
I love spies so much.
All that.
Yeah.
Aliens.
I know. I cannot wait to get into what I researched today, so...
Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, let's get into it.
So, we are doing government cover-ups, and I decided to do Area 51. So it's kind of a little bit the paranormal. It's just Area 51, not necessarily aliens. I think we can probably do a whole episode
on aliens.
Probably 3 episodes on aliens.
Yes.
So I'm just gonna get into it. All right. Area 51 is a highly classified United States Air Force base, also referred to as Groom Lake. It is a restricted area in the Nevada desert, approximately 86 miles from Las Vegas. The primary use of this base is top secret, but most evidence points to experimental aircraft or weapons. A growing myth is the base is made for the scientific testing and use of UFOs or unidentified flying objects.
Ooh.
So a bit backstory. The base was obtained by the U.S. government in 1955 for testing aircrafts.
So, just for the war, it was different aircrafts that they were working on, or...
Yeah, they were developing just new aircraft. Probably for the war, most likely, but a lot of it wasn't publicized because they didn't want Soviet Union to be getting their information, basically.
Well, that makes sense. So, their new technology that they didn't want to get out.
Right. So, I think that is mostly why there is secrets for this base, just because they don't want other, different countries figuring out what's going on.
Yeah.
And also, that's where a lot of the conspiracies come from, because it's not open. You don't know what it is. So then people like us put in our own theories and
Yeah.
things happen. The number 51 is given to the area most likely because of the grid numbering system, and this is one of the most well-kept secrets, and it has led to many speculations of UFO sightings and conspiracy theories.
Woo, that's us.
Yay! The speculated use of this area is a couple of different things: examining alien remains, repairing alien aircraft, communicating with extraterrestrials, time travel, teleportation, and weather, controlling the weather.
Oh my god, that is so awesome.
See, I was reading all of these, and they're all really interesting, but that's what I kind of learned out of this is controlling the weather would be awesome. And
right? If there's gonna be a huge hurricane or something,
right,
that has massive devastation, or a tsunami, or
but they could use that, I guess, instead of an atomic bomb.
Yeah,
or something.
They could hit someone with a storm.
Yeah, and they would have no way of knowing that it's that.
It's it just reminds me of the whole acid rain thing.
Yeah.
Or cloudy with a chance of meatballs. Let's just hit Korea with a bunch of
giant meatballs.
Giant meatballs.
They probably don't know what they are because it's probably government.
That's really sad.
That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna
introduce North Korea to meatballs.
Yes. They're probably like, oh, America, there's some propaganda in these balls of meat. Okay. So, a couple years ago, the government did release documents stating that Area 51 is used to research aerospace intelligence, which is most likely actually meaning aliens, and they're just stating it in a way oh, just like aircraft that goes by that we don't know what it is, if it's from a different country or something.
So they're trying to be very vague.
Yes.
To be well, we might have alien aircraft, but it might just be other countries, but we're not going to tell you.
Which is one of the actual leading theories, is that they are, well, the biggest theory is probably aliens, but this other theory is that they had Soviet Union planes and bombs and different things that they obtained from the Soviet government.
Yeah.
So they think maybe that could be part of it.
I like the aliens theory.
I know. I
believe this one for sure.
Yeah, I like the weird theories.
Yeah.
And I like when it seems like all the puzzle pieces are fitting together.
Mm-hmm.
So, one of the theories is actually the moon landing. Some speculate that the landing on the moon was taped in Area 51. Inside the area, they have a stage where they recorded the landing. Which I will actually go more into this kind of theory of the moon landing being fake.
Yeah.
In probably a different episode, because there's so much I can get into with this.
Yeah, but the basis of it is just, it was the way the wind was blowing, the flag looked funny, and the quality of the video, and there was different things that they didn't show, and so that's a lot of people thought that it was fake.
Right, and it looks very, it's something no one ever saw before, so that's kind of why
a lot of people
thought it was
skeptical of it.
Yeah, exactly. So the year that Area 51 was built, in 1955, the sightings of UFOs increased. I believe this is most likely because they had secret planes that were going in and out of Area 51, and they didn't want the information going to someone. They didn't want to have the information.
They didn't want our enemies to be well, they're developing all these cool high tech.
Yeah. So
planes and aircrafts and all that.
Yep. So they didn't want to publicly admit anything, so our enemies wouldn't hear hear of our experimental research.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest, I guess, confirmations of UFOs being in Area 51 is Bob Lazar. He states that he worked in Area 51 in the 60s and has gone on record stating he has worked on the remains of extraterrestrials.
What?
And has seen in Area 51 that they are reverse engineering spaceships.
Wait, so how can he say this, and why is, like, because it's a government cover-up, like, how can he say this information without someone, like...
So, because he's retired and
yeah.
I guess there's no public knowledge that he actually did work there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a secret base, so they can't say who has or hasn't worked there.
Yeah.
So, there is speculation if he actually has. But
Okay.
I watched this documentary that like shared his like firsthand experience, and he saw when he was walking around the patrol, he saw different lights, and it wasn't near where the landing strips were, so he believes it was UFOs.
Yeah.
But they're like, no, it's like the trick of your eye or something. But you know, he was a smart man. Like he worked there for so long and he had all this information. It's not like he was delusional.
Yeah, like sometimes when you see like I want to believe it, but when you see like a lot of alien like documentaries where people are like, I was probed and like all of these different things, and like they like assaulted me and stuck needles into me, and there's like this whole thing, and a lot of times it sounds like you're on like an acid trip or something. Yeah. Which goes into my story. But so a lot of times it's hard to believe when people are talking about it.
It ruins the credibility.
Right, exactly.
When some people go on,
yeah,
and it's like after the sightings in Area 51, it grew from the like 1955 on. The talk of aliens grew so much in the next 50 years. And basically that's just because it's kind of like one person tells two people tell three people, and it just keeps growing and growing until it's this big thing. And that's where a lot of theories come in. And
there's so many movies now about aliens. Right. It's such a huge like industry now about
a big thing that connects Area 51 with UFOs is the movie Independence Day. Because in that movie,
Will Smith.
Yes, exactly. He's a babe in that movie.
Yes, he is. He's still a babe.
He still is. Even though we're like probably the age of his kids.
Yeah, we are.
I forever in love with Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Mhm.
Anytime anyone says Philadelphia whatsoever, I have to start singing West Philadelphia, born and raised. And then I keep going, but no one else wants to hear me rap.
It's very entertaining. Yeah. You should do the whole thing.
Alright, so if you've gotten this far in the podcast.
So, Independence Day.
Alright. Well, basically, around the area is where most of the sightings took place. And
okay, so like in Nevada.
In Nevada, yes. And people would report UFOs or unidentified flying objects. So not necessarily people think like UFO, they automatically think aliens, but it's just basically an object in the sky that you can't identify.
Yeah.
So these are reported, and they say you didn't see anything, it was an airplane. They like
discredit anyone that says anything.
Yeah. There's actually this couple that was living in Nevada, and they both talked about being abducted right near the base. They were driving past the base, and aliens came down and abducted them.
Oh my god.
And there is more into that story, but which I'll do more on alien specific stories, but just specifically towards Area 51. more sightings happened in that time, and this couple was kind of like the ball, like got the ball rolling.
They were like the first ones, and then all these stories started after that.
Right, exactly. But that might just be because if they really do have planes or like remains of UFOs, if they have them there, then if they are in communication with aliens, they could be coming to visit and communicate with them, or they could be tending to go towards that area because they have some sort of like location where they can locate their ships.
Or they're trying to steal them back.
Oh, that right?
Is,
yeah.
Wouldn't that make sense? Because if I was an alien and I spent thousands of dollars on millions of dollars on a spaceship, I would
dollars or whatever they
have.
I
don't know, currency, alien, my blood, I don't know. But I don't know what they use for currency, but I would be like, I want to get that spaceship back. Like, or that's my livelihood right there.
Or their loved ones, the people, their family, or.
Do you think there's like actual live aliens there, or do you think they're like all dead?
I don't think they're alive, because if they were alive, I think we would have like a galaxy war. Like if we had
Infinity War.
Yeah, the Infinity Wars.
The Infinity Wars. What?
Oh man. We should make that into a movie.
Wow, that's a great idea. And there's different stones. Yeah, it's a great idea.
And then, like,
aliens.
Different people have different powers to fight the aliens?
Crazy.
Oh, man.
It's like people, like, trying to, like, avenge, like, Earth. Like, avenge Earthers.
Yes.
Avengers.
Oh.
Wow, that's a great name.
What about Revengers?
Oh, Revengers. Perfect.
Because they're getting revenge.
We created a whole new concept that no one has ever heard of before.
Revengers Infinity Battles. Yes. Okay. Well, that's a lot of the information I have on Area 51. I'm just going to put in my theories. I definitely believe there's aliens. Before I was doing my research, I kind of was skeptical.
Yeah.
But because I might be gullible or I get more information, I am more than like 75% sure that there is aliens. Especially since the universe is huge. Yeah. And there is no way of knowing
right
that there's anything out there.
And it's like, how are we the only ones? Like, are we so like selfish and naive to think that we're the only ones in this huge like galaxy? Right.
I guess it doesn't make sense to me. Like, why is there all of this and there's just us?
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And like, if you believe in God or whatever you believe,
higher power or something. Yeah.
Why would that being just make us?
Yeah, exactly.
I guess like I don't want to get too religious, but it just doesn't make sense to me why there wouldn't be something else out there.
Mhm. Yeah. So it's all at Area 51. That's where they hide all.
They hide all the information. Yeah. Well, speaking of government cover-ups, do you want to go into your topic today, Kelly?
Of course. So my government cover-up, I've mentioned it in a few episodes before, but it's MK Ultra. If you don't know what MK Ultra is, this actually happened, so it's for sure it's not a theory. But I'll go into a little bit more of the theories based on it. But between, it was around the 1950s to the 1960s, the CIA had a mind
right around the time of Area 51 was created.
Yep, look, same time period.
That's kind of
the government was doing shady stuff. Unrelated, Nixon. Also shady stuff.
Oh, remember how we talked about how he's a great guy? Yeah.
Yeah, right?
All right.
Yep.
Just continuing on to the next episode.
Exactly.
All right.
So it was CIA mind control experiments.
Ooh.
So it was a U.S. government ran human resource operation within the CIA, and they tested the different effects of hypnosis, sensory deprivation, isolation, torture, and most memorably,
Words are hard.
words are really hard. But the most important one was LSD, which a lot of people have probably heard about this. The government was using LSD on U.S. and Canadian citizens, and they had no idea. So they were drugging people and giving them LSD, and they were trying to find the effects of what it would do to people. There was a lot of different experiments that they were doing. There was a downers and uppers where they were interrogating people, so they would give them some type of drugs to make them really sleepy, and then they would give them like an upper drug afterwards to kind of see like what would they would do.
How did the people not know it was happening?
Because they would. So I'll go into it, but like they would do it randomly.
Oh.
So, like, for one example, they would have people. Okay, I guess I'll go into it. So they would have people hire prostitutes, and they would take them back to this hotel room. The government agents would be looking through, like, a mirror, watch everything go down. The prostitutes would drug the men with LSD to see what happens.
Oh, my God.
And the CIA agents would watch the entire encounter and see what they did. And so they would trail them and kind of see what they did with the LSD. Because they were thinking that LSD was some sort of where they could, like, because everyone's so, like, trippy and out there, that they could, like, control their minds and tell them what to do.
Oh my God.
It was almost like the idea of, like, because it was the Cold War, like, so they could create some sort of, like, super soldier.
So, isn't that what they thought for the person that killed Robert Kennedy? They believed he could have been involved in this.
Yeah, so, yeah, for him, they believe that he was some sort of mind control where I believe it's called Marcinian candidate. I believe that's the name for it. Where the theory is that they actually were able to create mind control. And so from what they released from the CIA, because they ended up confirming that they did do experiments, they haven't confirmed that they've been able to find a way to mind control people. And so that's the theory, that they actually did find it and they didn't tell us. And then they're still trying to hide it and they're still using it. So another project they used, it was Sub-Project 54. They gave people brain concussions and amnesia using sound waves. So their idea was that if they can completely clear someone's minds, they can manipulate it and make them do what they want them to do. So by giving them concussions or like completely wiping their brains, they're able to use these people as soldiers or spies or, anything that they can kind of do what they tell them to do.
So we hate on the Nazis real bad, but
Yeah.
this sounds like worse.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, we were talking about this earlier, a lot of people in the Nazi government, they just went along with everybody else.
Yeah.
It was free will, but they kind of just felt they had to follow.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a point where they could be like, hey, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to back off.
It's like peer pressure.
Yeah, but this is something that you can't control what you're doing if it's true.
Right, exactly. And a lot of people think it is true. I, for one, think that it's true. So there's a lot of different experiments that they did. One of the ones that is like probably the worst was by Ewan Cameron. He was a psychologist. So he used cancer patients that were terminal, because he's like, oh, I can test on them because they're gonna die anyways, which is awful, by the way. So they're like, yeah, I'm gonna use these people that are terminally ill. And so he had this idea of like, I'm not gonna go into a lot of it, but it was deep patterning, kind of the same thing where you could wipe someone's mind, give them drugs, LSD, electroshock therapy, and pretty much make them vegetables. He used this to cure mental illness, but obviously it was like completely erasing people's minds. So the account that I watched, one of the documentaries, Linda McDonald, all of her memories for a certain amount of time were completely erased. She had postpartum depression, and at that time they didn't really know what it was because it was like in the 1960s. So she went to Dr. Cameron and she was put in the hospital. They're like, she's going to be in the hospital for the rest of her life unless she gets help. She went to Allen Memorial Hospital in Canada and love Canada. Canada is
We're
amazing.
right by Canada. It only takes us about 3 hours to get to Canada.
We should go visit Canada.
We really should.
I love Canada.
It's like we're kind of sort of like Canada
because we're basically Canadian.
Because, Michigan, like, we're upper, kind of out of the loop of everything else.
I mean, we're not in the deep north, but
yeah, like we just.
I apologize for everything, so that basically makes me Canadian, right?
Oh, and then you like knock into people, and you're like,
oh, sorry, sorry about that.
Sorry about that. Sorry. Sorry.
So she, they're like, you're gonna be in the hospital for the rest of your life. And he's like, I can do experiments on you, and I can save you from postpartum depression because, of course. So for 3 weeks, she was put into a sleep room where she had hundreds of electric shock therapies, was injected with LSD, and on a loop, they played this auto loop of, I'm not sure exactly what it was, but it was kind of like, do this, like, be this way. Kind of like one of those tapes when you're like, sometimes people like sleep and listen to them, like, you will be like a good person and you will do this.
Do you remember that movie when we were kids? It's like a superhero family. And then everyone gets this homework video, and they watch it, and then everyone wears blue shirts. And then he comes to school, and he's wearing like a red shirt because he didn't watch it for some reason. And then the whole school is wearing the same color.
Crazy.
Because they were like brainwashed. I can't, for the life of me, remember what movie that is.
That's crazy. I feel like that really happens because, like, if you're watching like a movie or like a show, like they intentionally try to make you like want stuff with like ads or what they're wearing. Like if they're wearing a shirt from like Old Navy, then I'm like, oh my gosh, I want that shirt from Old Navy.
But you love Old Navy.
But I love Old Navy anyways. Maybe it's because of the media though. Maybe they made me love Old Navy. No, I just really love Old Navy. So when she was done after 83 days, she was a vegetable. God. Her mind was completely...
I'm surprised she survived that.
Yeah, it's awful. So it's really bad what happened to her. She didn't know who her kids were. She didn't know who her husband was. She ended up going back home. She had to learn to do almost everything over again. She had to learn to read again, cook, drive a car. So the good thing about this was one account, but over 80 people ended up suing him because of this. And won. Because he did this to a lot of people. And so
I feel like he should be more than sued.
Yeah.
Like,
it's
jail
awful.
time, like.
Yeah. So, like, that for sure happened, and that was in Canada. But they were also using hypnosis as well. It kind of went side by side. So to conduct these experiments, a lot of the times they were using sort of weak people that were vulnerable, that were able to be controlled. So the CIA paid prisons, hospitals, and other like mental institutions to keep them quiet, and like for them to use them as experiments for these people. So they even had like heroin addicts, like they offered to give them heroin, so that they could test on them. So like here, all these drug addicted people, like let's give them more drugs, and also like give them the drugs that they want.
How did that possibly affect it though?
Oh, I'm sure that a lot of people died because of it.
Oh.
But like the thing is that we don't know. So also, this is awful. Because we were both we were at one point college students. A lot of people go through college. So over 30 universities were involved in studies where they're like, you're poor college kids. We're gonna give you money to be in these studies.
Oh my gosh.
So there was a bunch of students that were involved in it. And a lot of times, like, it was overlooked by medical professionals and scientists. Didn't even, like, research, like, the effects that it was having on these people. So there's so many, like, unsolved cases of people, like, going crazy and thinking they have, like, schizophrenia or paranoia, but really it was, like, all of this testing with LSD. So, like I was saying before about, like, the prostitutes that they were using. So a lot of people in the U.S., mostly San Francisco and New York, were being poisoned with LSD randomly, and they were like showing the effects of what happened. So I watched this really awesome documentary called Wormwood, and it's on Netflix. It's all going into this scientist, Frank Olson, was working on the project, and he ended up dying mysteriously. So this documentary on Netflix kind of goes into what happens. It's sort of like a dramatization, so it goes over what happens. But so in November 1953, a group of all the scientists that were in these projects, they were poisoned with LSD at this conference. So they poisoned all the scientists, and they wanted to see what would happen and what they would do. So Frank Olson, he had a bunch of paranoid symptoms and schizophrenia. In the documentary, like he went back home after, and he was acting super weird, and he was being super paranoid, like I'm gonna lose my job, like I did so awful, and everyone was laughing at me. So they didn't realize the effects that it was having on people. I don't know why. They're like, let's do it to all of our researchers and scientists and see what they do.
So I don't understand why they're like, oh, we're gonna do it to all these sick people and old people that nothing bad, like they're just gonna die anyway.
Oh, also, by the way, they did target minorities and people of lower classes that didn't have enough money, so that if they said something, they could just automatically disprove them.
Oh,
which is awesome. Yeah.
Gotta throw racism in there also.
Yeah, of course.
Great.
What would it be without a government cover-up without a little bit of racism in there?
Yeah. Wonderful.
So, after, I believe it was 9 days, so Frank wasn't taken to a mental hospital. He didn't tell his wife what was going on. Nothing was done. And so he ended up, so in the documentary, they see he either jumped out or fell out of the window. And died.
God. So basically, the government could have done
Someone pushed him, basically.
Oh my God.
I mean, they won't go out and admit it. So it ended up coming out. His entire family thought that he just committed suicide.
That is
for
sad.
22 years. And then the government came out and said, MK Ultra happened, and we were doing all these experiments, and we did give him LSD, and, because of that, like, he jumped out the window. And so, like, they actually, so this is where people think it's still a cover up because they had his family like go to the White House and like that normally doesn't happen. Like they met the president and he apologized like for it happening.
How is that gonna do anything?
Yeah, exactly.
How is apologizing? Sorry, your dad's dead.
Yeah.
Like we fucked up. Sorry. Here's a handshake.
Yep. And so like there was no investigation done. I believe that they ended up going to Congress after like the 22 years. And trying to make some sort of law so it didn't happen again. I don't have updates on that.
So they were trying to basically say, we're great people.
Yeah.
We're sorry. But what about the millions of families that had other people that they loved that went through this?
Yeah, there's so many people, and they're only like apologizing for this person who was in the experiments.
Yeah.
You know, who was actually like a scientist for the CIA. And so, like, they did end up looking at his body, like, after he died, and it did look like he had been attacked. But they didn't do any sort of, like, investigation or foul play. They're just like, oh, he committed suicide, and that's what happened, so...
Well, I don't want to talk about this too much because I know not everyone has seen Stranger Things.
Yeah, so that was one of my points.
Yeah, but
Stranger Things is very similar.
That's what the experiments that they have in Stranger Things. I don't want to like
give it away.
Yeah, for people that haven't seen it, but basically that government is doing stuff with MK Ultra, and Eleven's real mom had like where she was delusional because she had testing by the government from MK Ultra. So
yeah, and so that was one thing. There's like so much stuff I could talk about this. But basically, like the monarch mind control was this idea to create child assassins, which is kind of like 11 in Stranger Things if you've seen it.
Yeah.
So it was like creating these candidates of younger people and almost making them into like spies or people that would attack because they're like their brains are so like formidable, like they are not formable, so yes. They can do a lot of experiments and stuff with kids because they're still changing. So I have a lot more, but so one of the theories is that it's still happening, which of course makes sense. So in the 1970s, the CIA director Richard Helms, he ordered the destruction of all of the documents pertaining to MKUltra. So in, I believe it was 1975, all of the stuff kind of came out saying that this was happening, all this actually happened, and kind of like when they apologized to the family of Frank. So in the Freedom of Information Act request, more documents were located, but the full timeline still is like really incomplete and they don't have all of the extra information. We just have kind of the basics.
So I don't understand why they had to delete all the information.
Yeah.
Why couldn't they keep it and then just have it be like only certain people can look at it, you know? It's got to be really bad then.
Yeah, like there's got to be so much more to it. Or my theory, 100%, is that they did find a way to control people, and they're using it now. Like with the RFK assassination with Sirhan, or with other people. So I'll go into it completely, but a lot of people believe in Illuminati, and they're using celebrities kind of as these like forces and mind controlling them and making them do certain things or have certain messages to control the public.
So I don't understand why Trump has this "Let's make America great again." Yeah. But do you know how bad America was in the past? We're just starting to get to a place where we're better, and we're still have bad things going on.
It's like that,
and you hear about these things and you're like...
It's like the American dream. Like, where you're like, there's a lot of things that we didn't know about, so we're finally, like, getting all this information.
Child labor, like... yeah, make America great again. Like, kids losing their limbs as children.
Like, it's surprising hearing all the stuff that happened, like, even when our parents or grandparents were alive. Like, how did more people not die? Or, like, have serious...
hear about it. It's just...
Yeah, or have serious, like, mental issues.
So, we are probably still having effects because of these things.
Yeah, we're not even, like, seeing it now.
And that could potentially be why mental illness has risen. Or, I mean, part of that could be just most of the stigma's gone.
Yeah.
But if you're having those things and you're having kids, they're gonna get part of that.
Yeah, and that's another thing too with like targeting minorities and like lower level like populations. If they're gonna have like LSD and then it transfers on, like, you know, with kids you can transfer on an addiction, and if that just keeps on going, you know, of course people are still gonna be addicted and still have issues. So the main theory is that they were using this for brainwashing, like the perfect soldiers. So many people were unaware that they were being poisoned and hypnotized in electroshock therapy. So they said that they don't have an exact number, but it was thousands of people that this happened to. Definitely, like, and they were like looking at people, like I said, minorities, but also people with like dissociative identity. So the people that have kind of like, it's multiple personality disorders. That's what they used to call it.
Interesting.
But dissociative identity is kind of the idea of like Jekyll and Hyde, where they have two different personalities. So like using that to kind of control someone.
I like that theory that they could use that. Yeah. So it's like really wrong what they're doing.
It's awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. There's so much information about it, and there's so many different theories and branches off with it. I would suggest if you're really into it, either watch Stranger Things or Wormwood. They're both on Netflix. They're both awesome. Really, really interesting.
See, I wish I would have known more information about this before I watched Stranger Things.
Yeah.
So I could kind of understand more. But I really don't know how they link the aliens with the MK Ultra. Like, that's just weird. Like, how does it link together?
What do you mean?
Like, why? They weren't experimenting with aliens too, right?
Probably. We probably don't know.
All right, well...
maybe they found LSD from aliens. There you go.
In Area 51.
In Area 51, see?
There you go.
That's where they created it. They're both government related. Crazy stuff that's happening. So like I said, I have a quote. This is a lot of people still think it's happening. So this quote is from Roseanne, from the famous Roseanne series.
This is the old version, not the new version.
So she said, well, no, it's not from the show. She said it.
Oh, got it. Yeah. I thought you were saying, like, from Roseanne, like, Roseanne the show.
So she said, it's a big culture of mind control. So she's talking about Hollywood. She's saying MK Ultra mind control rules in Hollywood. If you don't know that, Google it and look into it. It's really hard for artists to find their voice in the media. It's levels of brainwashing and mind control. So, like, even, like, celebrities believe that it's actually happening.
Oh, my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe it, but, I mean, I can believe it.
Yeah. It's, like, really scary to think that this is happening. Like, you can go out on your day-to-day and just be...
injected with LSD.
Yeah. It's so scary.
So, the government says you cannot have any drugs, except for the ones we secretly put inside your body.
Yeah, exactly.
Wonderful.
Oh my gosh, this is completely unrelated, but well, no, it's related completely. But so like I was just thinking, like, what if they did this like in hospitals? Like when you go to the hospital, that would be the perfect place for them to like inject you and to not know. Like that's really smart government. Like pay attention, but also don't do that because that's awful. So on that really happy note.
So drive slowly, everyone, because everyone's gonna be real paranoid.
Also, don't get poisoned. Check your drinks. Cover your drinks, ladies.
Okay,
Especially
yes.
with roofies. Like, cover your drinks at all times. Watch them. Don't receive random drinks from random strangers. Especially if they look like they're from the CIA.
Are you assuming that CIA people all look a certain way?
Or they're all evil? They're not all evil. But
No.
if they're really old and they're from the 50s and 60s, then maybe.
If they're like 90 years old. So stay away from CIA agents that are 90 years old. They're also all going to come after me. So that's cool.
You could probably beat a 90-year-old, though. It wouldn't be that hard. Just like kick him in the knees or the hips or something.
Like take his teeth out and throw them across the room.
Oh, don't hurt old people. Only if they're bad. But okay. I love old people.
So, our drink that we have today is a rosé. It really doesn't have anything to do with government cover-ups. It's just
we just wanted to drink rosé.
Delicious. And then Kelly got us really cute little glasses, and
yeah, we're gonna post them on Instagram. But mine says, so I'm obsessed with cats, like I've said before.
Obviously.
Mine says, nevertheless, she persisted, like persistent. So it's really cute.
And my favorite novel is The Great Gatsby. And I am in love with the 1920s. I probably will do an episode about it because I love Prohibition era. But mine, it's in like 1920s-esque writing, and it says, "A little party never hurt nobody." So it's adorable.
Yeah, so we'll post these on Instagram. But, so, speaking of Instagram, if you want to follow us on social media, we are at Twin Theories Pod on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Our email is twintheoriespod@gmail.com.
Where are we at?
Where we can listen?
Yeah. Where can they listen?
You can listen to us on iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, Spreaker. We're trying to get on Spotify and iHeartRadio, but we're still waiting for confirmation. So
it'll take a little bit, but we will try to post every Tuesday.
Yes,
is when we'll have our episodes. We'll usually have an episode every week, and some of them will be pre-recorded just so we can make sure to get them on time if we have other things going on, especially with Kelly having a new job.
Yeah, and we really want to hear stories from everyone. Yeah. So, like, if there's a conspiracy, like, if you have something that happened with you, or if you have a theory about something, or even just a story.
Love people's alien stories. Even if it's
alien stories.
Even if it's not your story. Somebody else's story. Somewhere you heard. Like, just something. We want to connect with you. We want people to join our side on the conspiracy theories.
Yeah, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Email us will probably be the easiest, but just tell us all your alien stories, and we'll try to get them on the air for sure.
Yep. And then once a month, we're gonna do something where we, we can open fan mail and talk about different things that people send us, and we also want to do different twin conspiracies because we are twins.
Yep. So we'll do special episodes specifically for twins and related
twin theories.
Twin theories.
Yes.
Yes.
So, I think that's it.
That is it.
We're twins.
And these are our theories.
should do all my information in rap.
Oh, rap form. Next week on Twin Theories Rap Edition, we will be rapping our stories, and we will have no listeners.
Yeah, and that will literally be a rap.
We have no listeners.